Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining me today. I want to come on and commune and do a reading. It feels like the energy is finally lightening. And when I say finally, I don't know what I mean by that because I have no concept of time right now. But I do know that I was feeling really heavy, and almost depressed, where I would wake up in the morning and just be like, just this weight. I felt like a lot of the overlays were up. Like there was just this heaviness, this interference. So when was it? Monday night, Monday evening, I started feeling this lightning, and I was starting to have synchronicities come in and information to come in where I felt like everything just shifted. So I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. That's not my forte. There are other people that have that information. I just know what I feel, and I know the patterns that I see. And so it seemed like there was this lightning for me on Monday, and then into Tuesday, and then into today. What is today? I think today is Wednesday when I'm filming this. And so it's interesting because I did 2 readings yesterday back to back. And in both of them, now these people were connected. So often when I read for people that are friends or connected, there's a similar message that comes in because they're friends for a reason, they're connected for a reason, and they're working, the energies in a similar way. But for both of them, there was this message of like something coming in on the edges. In fact, one of them, I was like, you might be feeling a little bit of a sparkle on the edges, or even if you're not yet, you might be feeling it just sort of, if you're not seeing it yet, you might be feeling it energetically. Very similar message with the other woman where it was like there was like a secret. It's like when you get through this passage, there's something. So this message of like something coming in. And then I saw on Facebook this morning with one of my a kindred spirit that I have often connected with, working the similar energy. She used those same words. She was talking about divine inheritance, which is what came up in that reading, as well as she literally said the sparkles on the edges. She might have even said so. A real confirmation of that. And confirming what I had been feeling too, where there was this lightning and this excitement. What it feels like to me, and even the clouds yesterday, like there was something in the clouds. We have clouds again today. We had some rain, and so it was like there was this cleansing energy that came in, and now these actual clouds, I'm not seeing the spraying. I haven't seen spraying in like 3 days now, maybe 2 days at least, because I was out of town. But anyway, so it's like there's a different energy in the air. Something has cleared. So I feel like this is fractal, all the different fractal things. Okay, so and I feel this is connected to the war. The war, which is connected to the Stargate, which is connected to that location. So what happened for me Monday night, part of the lightning and the synchronicity, is I listened to this woman, and if we're friends on Facebook, you might have seen me. I shared this post, this video of hers. Her name is Indigo Angel, and I hadn't heard of her before. I had a friend maybe like a month ago send me a reel with her talking. I had never even seen her or anything. And then another friend just this week sent me 2 videos of hers. So I dove in. When I drive back from the desert house, I have like an hour and a half drive. So I listen to stuff. That's when I listen to stuff. There aren't many people that I listen to. I'm not drawn to many things because I feel like there's like disturbance or some of that programmed energy that often comes through. And it's like just, I'm really, really sensitive to any kind of, and I know a lot of us are feeling this way, any kind of like we're really anchoring and holding and template building for the new earth energy and for the organic timeline. And so anything that has even just a little bit of leaking of that old energy can feel really jarring and upsetting. So this was coming up in the last reading where, and I know some of you who reached out were really relating to that, had similar things happening in terms of the really deeply enmeshed, darker energies that often come through in our families or in our personal relationships because we get enmeshed, we try to overfunction, or we, and it's like, whereas with activities or with other people, we can have really strong boundaries. And so, and just this huge extraction on a lot of different levels of that. Anything in our lives that leaks our energy or makes it so that we can't stay in that frequency that we've earned through all of our trials and our initiations, no longer being a time. And of course, this has been happening. I would say that I started feeling the like seal up energy last March with those eclipses. And it's just gotten like tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, where for me it was down into like my most beloved relationships. It was still playing out between my daughter and I, and I saw it and I cleaned it up, and it was really just an inner seeing, and now it's like effortless. Like just all of the little energy leaks I had with her aren't happening. It's like I'm aware of every little place that I'm doing it. It was just the light bulb went on and the room was lit up, and that's all it took, So I don't know if you were relating to that reading. You might have found that as well. At the same time, I was very, 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 very tired this last week and feeling a lot of heaviness. And so what I was getting around that, I'm going to get back to Indigo. I don't know how I got off of her, but I interrupted myself with something, but I'm going to get back to that. But what I kept getting is that because of those things that we were clearing, I was talking about not listening to a lot of people, right? So the ways that we're leaking energy, the ways that sort of some of those programmed responses or, draconian energies, we're still taking up residence in our lives or our relationships. And so anyway, that clearing out, with that clearing out, and of course, Laura Hazel is always informing us around sort of the behind the scenes exits of some of these overlords and characters, and even the middlemen and the minions, and on all the different levels. And so being aware, if I know a lot of you that watch these follow her, because we're all kind of on the same brainwave, right? And so playing different parts, right, with different angles to this, but anyway, knowing that that's been going on, that they have been leaving, and around that time that I was talking about last March is when I started feeling those synchronicities with her, because she was starting to talk about the lower Orion groups, and I was clearing that within myself as well. So that being about a little over a year now of a lot of this exodus also happening within ourselves. Okay, so this is what I always see in energy work, and I mention this all the time. Whenever there's a big clearing, there's a restructuring of the energy. Because our energy is structured around the implants, or around the overlays, or around the trauma cycles. It'll work with it, and it'll do its best to let its voice be heard wherever it can. But once those things clear, there's a huge reconfiguration where everything can come into its true natural alignment. That's what I feel has been happening for us, because we've been clearing a lot of these darker things, cleaning up, sealing up our energy and getting our own circuitry back intact. And that's when the major restructuring will start to happen, the balancing of the polarities. And it's like growing a baby, where you're really, really tired and you don't have energy for anything else, because all of your energy is going towards that. I feel like something clicked in. I did a session this morning where that was the message at the very end. It was personal to her, but it was also collective, where and for her, it was like she had been working behind the scenes on this sort of, on the elemental level with the elementals, which of course are also connected with our physical bodies, in anchoring in and stabilizing this higher timeline, this true organic, the earth template, and the fractals of it. Okay, so that going on, reaching some sort of completion, whereas like the first phase of the journey was the shadow working and the hell diving and all the initiations and the trials, and then like the last few months to a year, depending on where you're at in your journey, there's been a lot of that retemplating, which has been going on. The correction there might have still been interwoven with some dark nights of the soul, and with some clearing of the darker timelines at the same time. Again, once it leaves, it restructures. A lot of that going on. I feel like I keep getting this message of some sort of stabilization going on. Okay, so this is where it connects to the war, and to Stargate 10, and to Iran, and to the Earth grids, where Indigo Angel, I have to remember her name because she's new for me, what she was saying in this video, it was about the Strait of Hormuz, and she was going on all the different levels. I just heard did you hear a beep? I just heard a beep. So it is. And my ears are weird these days too. This morning I felt like it was like hot. Like there was like this warm compress in my ear. It was actually kind of nice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the telepathic, clairaudient channels coming online with all the the buzzing. So my channel is getting louder and clearer and more visceral. I think a lot of us, our senses, our clairs are changing. They're just closer, where there aren't like veils in between. And they're just closer, more visceral. Anyway, so she was talking about that area, and she went into great detail. And so what had happened for me, and this is where I was like, whoa, where everything kind of came into alignment for me here, is I had a dream, and I shared about this dream for friends on Facebook. I think I mentioned it in the last reading as well. And in the dream, I lived on the water. And my kids and I were responsible for transporting something, from one area to another. And we didn't know how to do it. And we were working with these children. They were children and they worked underneath the water. There were these passageways that they worked with, that they knew how to do this thing. And we were working on what I didn't share about the dream, which I understood more through, because I didn't understand it at all. But when I listened to her, I understood. There was like this one area that we were working on and it felt like comfortable and familiar to me. And then there was this, and then we went to another area and I was like, whoa, this is a completely different energy, a completely different frequency. And I was a little bit like, oh God, I can't do more, this type of thing. And then I woke up. And at that time, there was the storm, the intense weather over Hawaii. And so I was like, well, I was either in the Strait or I was in Hawaii. And I had been having so many Lemurian and Mer synchronicities and energies and memories, visceral feelings coming online that I just assumed that I was in Hawaii, because I was like, well, that matches up with what I had been feeling energetically, even though in the dream we were transporting, it's literally a strait with a port and you're transferring. Okay, so I realized I absolutely was in the strait, because after listening to this video, she talks about the different arms, or maybe she said wings. And the eastern wing, I believe it was the eastern wing, was it was connected to Lemuria. It was connected to Lemurian. One other thing that I can't remember what she said. The Lemurian life stream, the Lemurian energy frequency, pre-fall energy. Okay, and so. And in my dream, I realized that's the one that I was working with, and that's the one I was comfortable with, and that's the one that why I connected it to Hawaii. Okay, the West Wing was the Nile and Africa, which is really interesting because I don't really work with those energies that much. But two of my dearest friends, two of my my 3 or 4 inner circle people are really connected. Like one is like the incarnation of all things Egypt. And the other one's always running off to Africa. And so it's like they got that part covered. I had this part covered. But then the third wing or arm that she talked about was subterranean, and it went down into inner earth. So I feel like those were the two that were coming through in my dream, because those children were going down underneath. And I do have a strong inner earth connection that I don't understand, but I feel it, and it connects to my mother and my father. And it's just one of those things that but you don't know, like that. Okay, so there was that. And then last night, so she explained all of that. And she explained how the strait, that area, is an extension of the Stargate, the Stargate 10. What I had intuited, and then Alora Hazel confirmed, is that the Stargate 10 was the last Stargate that was still trapped, still blocked, overlain, this type of thing. And so this was months and months ago, before the war even started. Okay. And so then a friend of mine, my Egypt friend, was having dreams about the Stargate and Iran, and we were working with that together, and we were having puzzle pieces coming in and all these things. So I was aware that I was working. So again, it's like in the session that I just had, where she was working with the template and she was working with the elementals, and there was some sort of completion. What I realized, what I've been seeing through my dreams and what I saw in her, which I'm just realizing right now, because that was just a little bit ago, is that what I was seeing in her is that she's been working on this behind the scenes that she might not even known, getting dizzy all this time, and so I realized the same is true for myself. I know that I do accidental grid work, and that I work with the land, and I strongly work with the land in the Apache. This is Apache land where I'm at, and I have connections with all those things that come through synchronicity and dreams and information and all that. But I didn't know the extent of it until now, okay? And so I'm bringing this up because this is true for a lot of us. And so you'll remember 2 readings ago, I was talking about how the elementals were wanting, there were all the synchronicities with the elementals wanting to get our attention. There was that symbiotic relationship where we were working together. Now I understand and I knew it then, but now, when you really know it, right? The truth comes more and more integrated and embodied, where we're working with the elementals and stabilizing the organic harmonics of this realm. We're also another way to say it would be, we're stabilizing the new earth timeline, which is new, but it's also the restoration of the original, the original harmonics of this realm, which includes our access within our bodies to those original harmonics. So the memories that have been coming online, there've been a lot of synchronicities for me with water, with water and the memory in water. And so in that dream, I lived in the water. It was a water planet. This connects to Tara. This connects to Tiamat. So it's like everything is flooding back in, and that's the point. Everything is flooding back in. And so last night I had a dream where I was in the water again. And I don't know what this is. I'll just share this part of the dream in case it means something to somebody else, but I don't know what the heck this was. But I was watching this woman, and she was alone in the ocean. Maybe it was an aspect of me. And she had on this bright yellow t-shirt, just like this t-shirt. It was long and it was bright yellow. And she was dancing in the water, and she was just moving in the water. And I guess it's sort of that like mermaid energy. And as she was moving, she was like slowly, her t-shirt was slowly getting wet. And it was so mesmerizing to me because the t-shirt was really starchy and and like starchy, but as it got wet, it became like feminine and beautiful. And I don't know, it was like a dance, it was like art, but I think there's some symbolism in it as well. And maybe that has to do with the sort of the starchy straight lines of the linear and the capping systems and the corralling and even like the water in our pipes and, this type of thing. And then the softness and the merging with the water. But anyway, all of a sudden I became aware that I was in the water and I was all alone. And I was like, whoa, I was in here for a really long time, and I didn't realize I was in the water too. I was just thought I was like watching her on something. And I realized I was really far away from the shore. And I became aware of the danger of sharks and riptides and all these things. And I was like, I need to get back to shore. And I looked around, and there was land on 3 sides of me. And I was so confused about that, I was like, well, I started to feel like, I guess this is a dream, because how would there be water on 3 sides of me? Which I looked at the map of the strait, and I realized that it was the strait because there's the curve with the land, and then the point here in the land. And then right here in the map, the way I'm looking at it, was an island, Keshem Island. And so she talked about this indigo angel. I keep wanting to call her Indigo Crystal because there's another Indigo Crystal Galaxy person. Indigo Angel was talking about this island. She called it Dolphin Island because it looks like a dolphin. And so she was talking about this island, and I don't remember the details on this island, but it's there as well. It's another landmass. So in the dream, I'm looking around, and I was like, okay, I got to get to land. And as I was swimming towards the land, I was like, oh, there's this other piece of land here. So I believe it was Dolphin Island, Dolphin Keshma Island that excuse me, I made the spicy thing again that I was talking about, so I'm coughing. But I came up onto this island, and it was so visceral, and I was crawling, and in the dream I thought I was in Hawaii again. Last time it was upon reflection, I thought it was connected to Hawaii and the storm. This time in the dream I thought I was on Hawaii. So there's that Lemurian connection again. And so I was crawling on the island, and I remember thinking, well, how is this Hawaii? Because it's very arid. It's like a desert, but I didn't connect it in the dream. And there were these flowers, and they were these like really vibrant, beautiful red flowers. Well, later I looked up the fauna and flora of that island, and there were these bright red flowers. So I was like, oh my God, so really, really interesting. I don't know what it means or why I was there, other than that clearly a lot of us are working with the grid in the astral, and that we're part of the restoration. And so I feel, and Indigo Angel and Samuel, I forget his last name, the Korean man that is also aligned with the Christic teachings. Those are the people that I resonate with the most. Indigo Angel is as well. And so and that kind of information, Ashiana Dean, Lisa Renee, Dave Emery, who's aligned with that as well. These types of people are George Kasophilis. How do you say his name? These are the people. Those are the ones I can name that I listen to. And then Laura Hazel and Judith are ones that I like to read. And so anyway, the Christic teachings around all the things. What was I saying? She was talking about, and Samuel as well, talking about the energy coming off the trapping systems releasing from the Stargate, the last Stargate that's holding. What Indigo had said is that that Stargate, which includes the Strait of Hormuz, is where the breeder programs were first implemented onto the earth. And so I'm very connected, have had all these memories come online, everything I've been talking about over the year, around the Lyran Orion wars and the breeder programs there. I didn't know about the inception point of it here on this earth. Obviously it's still going on. We can see that through the Epstein files, this type of energy frequency. But what she is talking about is that literally there are still breeder programs going on this planet, in hidden places, which I didn't know. I didn't know that it was still exactly the same as in you're trapped only solely to breed. Okay, so that being connected to there. So there's this inception point that's now linking back with the Lyran Orion and the inception point of the fall throughout all the different timelines, the Atlantean, the Lemurian into the Atlantean. So you can see the patterns here in the fractal of this energy, and the releasing of this Stargate is the releasing of the elemental realm, the releasing of the true harmonics. It will go all through the grid. So all of this being confirmed through these other people as well. So helping me to understand what I had been feeling and seeing, and also dreaming. And so whatever that dream was about, maybe just to let me know that I was a part of this, and then to be able to say, to illuminate, it came up in this session, a lot of us working on these levels beyond our awareness, being part of the restoration and correction. So there's fractals, it's happening within our bodies, it's happening in our relationships, it's happening in our communities, in the ways that we're pulling back our energy and not feeding systems or mind control programs that other people might be running, conserving, sealing off our energies, crowned and sealed. There's that thing that came up last March, again, on a whole new level, so that we can run the circuitry of the new earth template that we've awakened within ourselves and our own energetic signature, so that we can be that structured water of memory to reorganize our bodies, which is what the fatigue is coming on about, and the some of the depression as well, because there's just so much going on behind the scenes, and a lot of as it's reorganizing, a lot of the darkness is getting kicked off, and it's heavy because we're feeling those timelines and the darkness that we've been throughout the eons without necessarily knowing what it is. And it feels really, really, really dark and heavy. One, because there's also a frequency being put out into the realm of the uptick of the opposite polarity in response to this rising and restoration that's happening. It's just the nature of polarities, right? So we're feeling those frequencies coming in. Everything's in service to the light. It's triggering those memories. Those cellular memories, triggering them to leave. Part of how they're leaving is because we're feeling them. And as we feel them and we sit with them and we have our dark nights of the soul, we're alchemizing them. So we're absolutely a part of the clearing of the denser energies through the emotions and feelings and circling thoughts, and through our bodies, through the exhaustion and the pain, clearing them at the same time. And then the reconfiguration can get overridden by the darkness, because the dark is louder. It's not more powerful. It's just louder, and it's uglier, and it's messier. So it kind of grabs your attention more. It can cover the viewfinder, right? Yet this restoration happening, I feel like those dreams really indicating that to me. So sharing that. Okay, how long did I talk for? 23 minutes. I'm going to jump into the cards and see what else might want to come through for us today. I'm not going to take this card because it came up in a reading last night. I did shuffle these cards, but I feel like it fell out because it was loose. It might be relevant. It might be the card for us, so I'll leave it out. But it's Porcupine Spirit, Time for Beginner's Mind. It probably is. I'm going to take it, but I'm going to pull another one as well. It probably is related because these are collective energies. So this was in one of the readings where I said where the woman where I was like, there's sparkles coming in on the sides. It's like be prepared, like stay open-minded, because there's this whole other thing coming through. Again, it's like the secret. Once you get through this tunnel, there's this whole other thing that's opening up, this indicating this as well. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, there's that Christic energy, the 12-strand DNA, and beyond the 12th dimension where we've been capped from. Okay, so I'm going to keep that card. I'm going to pull one more with the animal to do like a double overall energy. I have used these cards, so This is funny. We keep getting this card. We have gotten this card 2 other times in the last few months, and this is definitely not one that has been out recently, so it didn't just fall out. Sandpiper Spirit, be playful. So there it is again. There are the sparkles where it's like, okay, we're moving into this energy. So this is what happened last time after we came. Also, we've had a lot of we have an X flare, and then we had an M7 flare, and we've had CMEs coming off. So we've had a lot of solar activity, which also increases the releases that are happening in our body, which also makes us tired and achy. I know a lot of people get the head and the neck. For me, recently, like I said, it's been the lower back and the fatigue. But clearing these programs through the cellular energy. The last time we had a really big one, after it was lifting, after it cleared and energy was lifting again, we got this card. So it's kind of interesting just noticing the patterns there, kind of an encouragement, just confirming like, yes, things are lifting. And I think a lot of us are probably feeling it, even if we still feel kind of tired, just knowing that that's actually exciting as well, because it's indicative of how deep this process is and how profound it is and how mind-blowingly long we've been waiting for this time. So can be a celebration even even as we're going through this. So there's the Tower card, and that is the whole breaking apart of that which was very sturdy and strong and had great prominence in the world, in the society, breaking apart. And that's breaking apart within our bodies, breaking apart within our patterns, breaking apart within our relationship, breaking apart within the world. So again, this is war, but everything that's happening is necessary because things have gotten so calcified. It's taking a heavy collective dark night of the soul. It's always, again, everything is in service to the light. And if you've gone through rough trials, I know a lot of us are starting to see, and we were talking about this last time too, seeing the purpose of it all, seeing the puzzle pieces coming in where you see how it was part of your soul's trajectory and journey throughout all your life streams and what you needed to experience to be assisting at this time, the time of awakening, where we're shaking off all the false programs and overlays and trapping systems and energy siphoning systems so that the true harmonics can come online. Again, this is what happens in energy work as well, clearing out the things that are in the way so that your true frequency can come online to inform you, to put you solidly on the path. The same thing is happening with the earth. And it's again like the symbiotic relationship where as we rise, she rises. As she rises, we rise. And tuning into the energetics behind that, rather than the news or the outer tower moments or even the personal tower moments and catastrophizing or feeling that everything is wrong, because this is exactly the way through. It's through hell. You go through hell to get to heaven. You got to, when the dark has been separated and suppressed and held down and invisible and rejected, the way to come back into unity is to bring that back up online, to see it, clear it, feel it, know it, welcome it, right? Welcome it. And always that. And so we had a moment today in the session where there were some overlays and implants coming up, and things that didn't want to leave. And, my first response, which is funny because it's actually not my first response, but my first response, we were both kind of like, well, it doesn't matter that you want to leave, it's not you don't even have a body, this kind of thing. And then we realized, it was like she tuned in and the message she got was like, oh, it wants love. And it's like, of course it wants love. This is what we're doing. It's that, again, that forgiveness piece that keeps coming up, where all of this stuff, the way to dissolve it and to be free of it is to just welcome it and thank you. And so my daughter was saying that this morning as well. So this is a synchronicity. She's had a lot of freaking overlays, a lot of the like MK Ultra mind control type of shit running in her brain for a long, long time. And she said today that she had the clarity where she was like, whenever I feel that type of energy, she just says, thank you for your service, because you're part of God too, and that's it. And that's how we bring it all back home. So that goes true also for the, and in terms of what I was saying about like pulling back my energy from the town and some of the things going on, there's a lot of that divisiveness and hating and kind of like running the program that is being put out, just that kind of energy. And it's just really heavy. When I go to the desert, it feels a lot better because that frequency because the people are carrying the frequency. It's like we're bombarded with the frequency, but then if you allow the frequency to turn on those programs and you run those programs and you gather where two or more gather with those it's just it's really hard time. And I live with, there are a lot of minds around here, so everything is amplified and magnified. So yeah, and I know I'm meant to be here. I'm holding down fort here along with a few others. So that's the thing, because everything's magnified. There's a little bit more, in the template builders in this town than other places. Some only have one or two, right? There's a bit more because everything is magnified. But anyway, and I lost my train of thought again, but the frequency, adding to it, the mind control, I don't remember. I'm just going to move on. You probably catch my drift. Instead of putting your energy and your attention to that, to the program, to what's falling, putting our attention to the energetics behind and to what's rising, and to knowing that this is all part of the greater movement. So always that coming up, that came up really strongly last time, because the last reading, the energy was pretty heavy. That reminder of seeing the bigger picture. So let's see what comes out after the tower here. Oh, that's so beautiful. So the star card, these are old cards you can't see, but this is the star, which is very interesting because there's the child and here's the beginner's mind. So that's what I was thinking when with this, the beginner's mind, the child, the newborn, where you're open, you're the sponge. So but this is also a very this is my Fae deck. It's the Tarot of the Hidden Realm. So there are elves and fairies in this deck. So there's a bit of synchronicity there with that. And there's the moth, the moth, and so the psychic realm, and so the hidden realm, the inner realm, the eight, the that which is behind. Okay, so there's that thing as well. The star is a card of alignment. It's also the first deck I ever had, the mother piece. It was described as being held in the arms of the goddess, and so there it is again, where everything is held and everything is welcomed and everything's being welcomed back in, light, dark, hidden, hidden on the darker realm or hidden on the light realm, that which has been suppressed rising. So two major arcanas in this reading. That's very powerful node point energy that we're in right now, and it sure as heck feels like that. And again, something about the lighting, I wonder if you're feeling that in your area too. I don't think it's just specific to where I'm at. I feel like there's something different in the air. I said to my daughter yesterday, I was like, I feel like the benevolent galactics are with us. I feel like, and because she was saying, she's like, when I go to my room, I feel like something's coming with me. She's like, I feel so held and I feel so supported. And normally I would think of that, in terms of like just the energies or guides or angelic or something, but it feels specific galactic right now. I think it's just everything. And, it's like everything is coming back online. So it's all the realms. It just feels like there's just, I don't know, it feels like the victory of light, a huge victory of light, but that includes an inclusion. It's like the victory is because of the inclusion. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So a card of alignment, the energy is making me dizzy in this reading again. It's really high frequency energy, And so, that's interesting. This came up so these two cards, it was the same card as this, but this in a different deck came up in that personal reading that I did. And it came up in the exact same spot as the last card in the first row, where it was like, pay attention to your desires. And it's like, this is the spark, the soul spark that's like, I want that. I want to do that, where it's like, it comes from deep within, it's like the mother piece would say, it's like a psycho, spiritual, sexual, yes, it's to life, where there's this activation where to me, it feels like an activation energy right now, where we've had a lot of heaviness, a lot of the purging of the old. Now things are coming back online again, restructuring within our bodies as we acclimate to these new earth frequencies. But there's also an activation in that, because we come in coded, and it's the organic intelligence of our bodies to be in alignment with these energies, but we've been capped and the earth has been capped. So as the earth is uncapping, and as some of the darker forces are having to leave because of the frequency on this planet, our bodies are uncapping as well, which is like an activation and a quickening and and even like for me, pulling in that information, magnetizing magnetizing is how I like to say it, magnetizing in the information that helped me clarify about my dreams, which helped me understand some of the intuitive pieces that I was having come in. That kind of activation, this being an activation energy, pulling in pulling in, knowing what to go towards. Oh, I need to listen to that video, right? Or, oh, I need to reach out to that person. Or, oh, I need to say yes to that. Or, oh, I need to say no to that, but yes to this. This type of thing, this type of redirection, guidance energy going online, because things are starting to fire. The puzzle pieces coming in, the pieces coming together. Oh, yeah. And I was recently guided to reach out to someone from my past who was a huge activator for me, that Lemurian energy coming back online. So I was guided to recommune with him and to put our energies together, which created a further activation in the field between he and I. Also working the collective energies, the divine feminine, divine masculine energies, because we're fractals of that, right? And so all these things activating, sparkly, excited, playful energy. I'm so happy to be able to deliver this message. A couple days ago, I was like, I think I'm just going to die. Like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to do anything again. This might be it for me, and now, of course, the wheel always changes. So if you are still in the heavy energy, and I think I was saying this last time this message came through as well, just know that like the sparkles on the periphery, those little sparkles that you might be feeling are true. This is the energy that's moving in. You might just have a little bit more density. You might need to complete your tower moment, complete your dark night of the soul. But as you continue to clear that, but also, focusing, remembering not to just focus on that which is falling and that which is leaving you, because if it's leaving, it's connected to the old, and you might feel attached to it. You might not want it to leave, but just knowing that there's this newness and this alignment that's coming in, that's a greater match to who you truly are. Okay, hold on. I need a drink. All right, I'm going to go underneath now and read them on top of each other. 36 minutes. Okay, so what do we get? Oh, wow. The Dragon's Hoard, protecting the future. And that's also another 12. So we get 12 under 12. So there it is, protecting that Christic timeline, the true Catharic grid, the true grid on this planet, the true grid in our bodies, the truth of this realm, however you want to say it. I have a few more words now. I always just say the truth of this realm because that's what I felt intuitively. And so protecting that, and you can see in this card here, there are the keys. It's a dragon, but it also kind of feels like a seahorse. So there's that water element. There's also, it's almost like the key ring. There's a lot of imagery in here. The wings are like fae wings. They're delicate. They're not dragon wings. So it's like all of and there's the dragon's pearl, the cosmic egg, the truth, that code of truth and remembrance that we all carry within us. It's like that, there it is. That's what we're protecting. We're protecting that knowing, that gnosis, that remembrance. And we've been protecting it all along. Even today, what I saw in the energy session was so magnificent because she had a lot of really intense implants and things that had been running. We all do, to some degree, some more than others. But her energy and her inner knowing sort of like encircled it and encased it and worked with it so that she could still leak through her knowing and her connection, because she came in very connected. And so that wisdom that we all carry, and it is the key. It is the key is to unlock those memories, and we do that through the tower moments. That's why the collective tower moments are so important as well. That's how it's facilitating a collective awakening for humanity, because it's cracking open. It's cracking open. It's removing the things that are in the way, and it's activating those memories. And in many ways, one, because things are clearing where you can see them more. Two, because it's creating a frequency that's reminding us of these times in human evolution, our journeys, all these different dimensional frequencies that hold different codes of what our life streams have held. The point is to unlock them and to bring them back into this life stream, this current now, to bring everything back online within us, but also collectively and globally and beyond. And that includes the galactics and the hidden realms, the elemental realms. Okay, so same kind of message that's been coming through, but with more detail and more clarity and more fleshed out and more integrated. So again, we're protecting the future. We're protecting this 12. We're protecting the truth of reality, what we came from and what we fell from and what we're returning to. And that being, and that's what I was saying last time, like when that becomes your mission and your only mission. For a lot of us, it's like we're cutting out everything else. We're cutting out everything else. And that's part of the depression too, where you're like, well, gosh, the new isn't quite here yet. This stuff wasn't quite here yet. But for me, it's like there was a lot of new. Like I'm really enjoying the distance healing sessions I'm doing. I'm working with the most amazing people. Oh my gosh, because we're all scattered all around the world, and I'm getting to work with those of us working these grids, and it's so powerful, and we're anchoring energy, and it's like it's collaborative, but it's also it's just amazing. So that's really exciting. And the cats are rehomed. Well, they're not rehomed. They're being rehomed through an organization. And it's really beautiful the way it's unfolding. And I'm going to garden, and I have this outdoor space. So there's all these like wonderful things. The relationship and the enmeshment between my daughter and I has been cleared. And same thing with my son and his father. And, there are all these timelines, all these wonderful things happening. And yet all I could feel was heaviness. All I could feel was this heaviness. But that's because what was leaving. And I think for a lot of us, what we were activating and what was coming online had to be integrated in and replacing that which it was kicking out, because this new energy was kicking out stuff. And so letting things go and letting people go. And so that's what I was saying, is like not interested in stuff anymore, not interested in the things you used to be. Nothing really does it for you in this realm. And yet there's this whole other realm unlocking. So there's kind of that ego death grief period where you withdraw before the new thing is in place. Even if the new things the sparkles are on the scenes, it's like you can't quite get excited about them. Like I was writing in my journal the other day, I was like, I have so much to be excited about, but I'm not in touch with the emotion of excitement right now. I can't feel it. There was like a veil, and I feel that lifting. Going back to the Tarot of the Hidden Realm, the Fairy and Elf deck, just noticing which decks I'm drawn to. So here we have another beautiful elf, and this is the Knight of Wands. And so this is an unstoppable energy, and it's there's an inevitability with this. There's also a bit of a destiny type of energy with this, with the inevitability and the unstoppable, whereas like something set in motion, it's like pulling back an arrow. Something set in motion and it's gonna land, because that's the nature of the arrow, is that when it gets its momentum, it's gonna fly and then it's gonna land. So that's this type of energy. You can even see it with his hair. There's also a large energy of activation, emphasis around the crown. So there's again that like the moth, the psychic, the hidden realm, the psychic energy, the behind, the extra sensories, the clairs, this type of thing. A lot of that coming online more and more and more for a lot of us. So that is very exciting and good to hear right now. And again, everything being in service, all the heaviness in the world, all the heaviness in our lives, it's worth it. We're protecting the future, is what we came here for. We've been here from the beginning. A lot of the things that are, there's a channel coming through. How do I want to say it? A lot of us have planted energies and frequencies in the grid for this time. So that includes the crystals, that includes the pyramids. A lot of us were there from the beginning, knowing the trajectory and knowing what was going to happen. And I've done readings for people with this before too. I didn't know this till I did these readings, but I learn a lot through the readings and the sessions. But it's like we're part of the installation. And Andara crystals, for example, the Andaras have really been speaking to me lately, also very connected to the pre-fall timeline. So again, I want to see if I can get it to be heliocentric. I've tried this before in readings and it doesn't show up, but the way I see it is there's all this light inside. yeah, you can see it a little bit. They really, really light up if you ever have the opportunity. If you don't have an Andara crystal, it's kind of hard to find true ones. But Amira, that woman I posted about the myrrh, she talks about the Andaras, and she reminded me of the Lemurian connection, and is exactly what I am talking about. Was just talking about how the Lemurians, who are us, a lot of us, most of us that are listening, a lot of them, we put like fragments of our souls into these into the Andara crystals to remind us. So when we hold an Andara, it's like we're connecting with, or when we gaze into it, I wish I could show you how you can see it a little bit. See how that light is here, and on the other side, the whole thing gets lit up, and you can literally journey with these things. But they connect us with that higher frequency. When I first started working with them, it was a long time ago. It was maybe 2017, I think, is when I first got them. And I would have them in my room, and I had these beings in my room. They were really, really tall, and they were connected to the Andaras, and I didn't understand much. See, you can see it now. I didn't understand much at the time. I almost want to just like hold these. I have another one. I have a bunch of them. Let me show you this one. Hold on. This is one of my favorite ones. Yeah, so yeah, check them out. But anyway, they're interdimensional beings, and so there's like a wormhole where they came through. So there's all kinds of stuff with the Lemurians. But again, the protecting the future, this is where I was getting on this, where the pyramids, the Andaras, the crystals, the etheric crystals, the astral crystals in the earth grids were placed to protect the future at this time. So a lot of those things still working and helping with us, assisting us, and coming online and activating. And us, as we activate, we're activating them as well. So there's again that collaboration energy. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? Do you feel the energy in that? I'm journeying with this a little bit. Let's see what this card is here. Oh, interesting. The Seven of Wands. So the Seven of Wands, and this deck has been used as well. But this did come up in the some of the readings, one of the reading yesterday, and so in actually exactly the same spot. So I can see that her reading was very collective, noticing these cards. But the Seven of Wands. So what's interesting about this card in this deck, there again, is that blue. Remember last time I was saying about the blue, I was being really drawn to the blue. I realized it is that that kind of Lemurian pre-fall energy, whereas before I wasn't really attracted to the blue. I was attracted more to the reds and the oranges and that which grounds, but now I'm being really attracted to the blue, because it's like we're returning back to those memories, to that pre-fall frequency. So here we go. Here he is with all this gorgeous blue, and he's stabilized on this upper platform. And so I'm getting hot. I need to take my socks off, which are blue. And my mom made those for me. And isn't that a beautiful thing? There's that Agarthian inner earth energy as well coming in. But so here he is stabilized on this higher platform. So this is another message for us as well, where it's like we're out of range. So here's all the lower dimensional frequencies and energies still coming at us, like I was saying, the overlays, but we're stabilized in the higher frequency where they don't really have any power anymore. They can't siphon our energy because we're sealed and we're secured on this higher platform. There's a lot in this card. It's interesting up here. That really looks like an Andara. Look at that. That is so similar. And I don't know if that's like his cape or what is that? I don't know. And then there's another one down here. So it just kind of feels like a little bit of a synchronicity. I'm super in my right brain right now. I hope I'm making some kind of sense with this. I'm just reading symbols. But again, a message of being out of range and being stabilized on that higher platform. And I know things have been really heavy, and we've had a lot of energies and frequencies and sprays and all the things thrown at us. Again, everything's in service to the light. It was part of the confluence of the solar energy, kicking things up, burning things off, and now this message of being stabilized. And I feel like this is like we've recently up-leveled. Again, we're always up-leveling, but another up level where we're out of range. There's something else. Hold on. There's something else that's connecting with the protecting the future and the dragon's hoard. Okay, so this frequency that we're returning to, this is a platform that we laid for ourselves, you know, so there was that message coming through with this one where we were protecting the future. The future is now. We were protecting the future before. We were protecting the future in the ways that we planted seeds. So it's the, remember what I was saying, it's the memory, it's the codex, it's that which we hold inside of ourselves, which is unlocking. It's unlocking now, and we're receiving these aspects of ourselves that we were blocked from. Again, the 12, you know, the 12 and the 12, and having an open mind, having a beginner's mind. There's the blue again. There's the blue. So the blue is now representing for me that pre-fall timeline, that from the past, which is now the future, which is now. It's all now, but it's the returning. It's the return, which is interesting because the Seven of Wands is also a card of you were in a certain, let's say it like this. You were a certain thing. You knew who you were. You were in alignment, you were unhijacked, it was pre-fall, and then you fell down in frequency, you incarnated here, you went through your, the galactic wars, you incarnated here, you're in the lower frequency, you're battling. The Seven of Wands is also, it's a defense. It's also when you return, when you remember, I know what I am. I know what I am. I know what I am. It's the only thing. I keep trying to say something else, but it's just what's coming out. And I am being all that is, right? We remember this. We remember the code, the pearl, the codex, what's her name? What's her name? She's with Dave Emery. She's in the Christic teachings too. Jane Evershed. She calls it the hydrolase of the water, that holds the memory and it weaves through. And so she talks about the silver threads that come through the true catharic grid. It's other words, and it's technical words and that people agree upon, but it's the memory, it's the remembrance that we all carry. And again, we embedded it in our cells. We embedded it in the grid. We embedded it in our memories so that we could retrieve it. Okay. The Seven of Wands being a time where you retrieve it, a time where the memory comes back, where you're like, I remember. Okay. So this being a huge, and it's coming out underneath the Tower card. So this being activated because of this, right? This being activated, the remembrance being activated because of the Tower. We needed the Tower moment. We needed the frequency to remind us of the fall, because connected to the fall is connected to the pre-fall, right? Get them close together. Get close to the fall, you get close to the remembrance of the pre-fall. And so this going on right now. Also, I forgot to look at these on top of each other, the be playful. Again, just another message of be playful, be happy. And don't worry, be happy. This is happening. There's an inevitability. It comes back to the imaginal discs of the butterfly. Again, we came here with this memory. We came here with this remembrance. We know how to do this. The codes are activating right on time because of what's happening in the world. And what's happening in the world is happening because of what's happening in the energetics. And what's happening in the energetics is happening because of where we're at in the photon belt and all the gears of the clock clicking into place. Okay, so it's all okay. We are encoded for this, and we knew this was coming. The future is now. Protecting the future. The future is now. That can be looked at in a different way as well, but that's how it's coming through right now. So where are we at? 52 minutes. So I'm going for this. This deck is actually called the Tarot of the Illuminati, which is kind of an interesting name, but I am being drawn to use this deck a lot today too. So we have the Four of Pentacles. This came up in the last reading, another message of pulling back your energy and protecting the timeline. So that's coming out underneath the Star card. So there's that alignment again, protecting the alignment, not leaking your energy. If you need to just not leave your house for a while, or I was even having trouble going into nature. Like everything felt strange to me. It was a weird time. And it might come back again, but whatever it is, when you feel to pull back your energy from, whatever, even if you can't leave your house for a little while, it's okay. You're protecting this alignment. It's what you're here for. Remember, we're remembering what we're here for. Yeah, interesting. So let me see what the last card is. I'm going to do this deck here. Shaman's deck underneath the Two of Wands. So, wow. So we get more blue, whale's song. So there's more of that Lemurian energy, that pre-fall energy, the original codex, and the whale, which is the record keeper. I had a whale in my personal card this morning, and it was willpower. So there's that choice as well, where you're remembering. Two's also coming out underneath the Two of Wands, being twos being a number of a frequency of choice, where we're choosing to align with the deepest parts of ourselves. And when we do that, more of them can come online. So I feel like this is just a message of how much and how deep and how far we're going to go as things open up, and as we come into that alignment and we choose that alignment. It's like this is the record keeper, where we have access to everything, where everything becomes known to us again. And the oracle message with this is resonating. And again, the whale song. So there's the voice and what we're speaking and how we're defining reality, right? Where we speak into existence. Which reminds me again, I was talking about this last time where, gosh, there's just like, I can't really be on social media much anymore. I can't scroll. I just look for specific people, or I'll look for whoever's first or second, because those are people that I always respond, they're the ones that I resonate with through the interaction, because so many people are, gosh darn it, just really focusing on the fall and a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of energy that just makes me feel yucky. So I just get off of there. But for me, the message is just, and the message that I feel am being guided to say here is just focusing on the highest potential, focusing on the most audacious timeline, the broadest, widest, most inclusive perspective. Because again, with this resonance and this song, it's like what we speak and what we how we frame reality is what we're creating in our own lives, but also for the world, and just the responsibility that we all have to contribute to the highest timeline and the discipline in doing that. And so there's that reminder, and pulling back our energy from anything that feeds the lower timeline, that is the opposite of protecting the future, the opposite of that, where you get sucked into that resonance frequency of a lower frequency, and therefore you're using your gorgeous life force energy, which holds the codes of all that is, to feed the lower realm, the demonic realm, the siphoning realm. And of course it has its purpose, but that purpose is to activate us into this remembrance so that we come into our power, so that we do what we came here to do. And so a huge message of that, and all the blue. I'll take a photo of this, and when you look at the cards, you can see all the blue. So a lot, and I really felt I had to get up and get this one. A lot around that remembrance, and staying with that. Often, and this is another thing that I want to say quick before I leave. Often the situations or people or things that hold keys or codes or activations to that remembrance are infiltrated and hijacked, so that there's a trauma, a trauma around. And that's what happened for me with a person that, in fact, we shared this Andara back and forth between the two of us without even knowing that it was like a portal for that memory. I didn't realize, he said I did. He said I said it 8 years ago. I don't remember. But that we had a strong, that we knew each other from that pre-fall energy, and that there was this Lemurian activation. I guess I was channeling, because I certainly didn't know that at the time. But what was I going to say? Oh gosh. Yes. So that energy, that memory, that history, Akashic history with him activated my those memories, those pre-fall memories. But then I had trauma around him, because we were still in this frequency, so there was all this lower energy that came in to interfere, and then I had trauma around him, but he was connected to this. So then I had trauma around this. So you can see that. You can see, and it's almost like, the lower timeline is trying to protect their future too. So all the implants and the overlays and the hijacks and the diversions, it's like trying to steer you away from your memory. So sometimes going back into the very things that have a trauma connected to them will reconnect you, connect you with that original activation. I hope I'm making sense. Some of you are going to know what I'm talking about because you've lived that journey. It's hard to describe if you haven't done that. But anyway, so that being the last thing that I'm going to say, today is one of those times where I feel like I haven't had words and where I've been stumbling around, but usually those are the ones when I go back, I feel like I was channeling them most. So hopefully that's the case and that this was coherent. And I'm certain there's a transmission coming through because I'm really in kind of a quantum space right now. So there's a lot of different levels. So even if I'm not making sense, I trust that the energy is there. So thank you for connecting to that if you do. And as always, I always welcome any sharing of resonance. Speaking of resonance, again, anchoring energy. And I like to see, I really love it when I know who, and I'm not saying this in the way of like trying to get likes or trying to get comments. Like you could private message me for all I care, but it's really fun, not fun. It's fun. It's whatever the word is for me to see who is watching, because it's like I'm aware of who I'm connecting to in that telepathic realm. I'm aware of who's part of the soul family. I'm aware of the soul group that I'm working with, and so it's just nice to see if you feel like sharing or with a like, and I'm stumbling because I don't want it to sound like I'm trying to get likes, because I'm not. I'm literally, it's like when I see, or like if I run into somebody in town and they let me know that watch these, it's like, oh my God, I love knowing that, because I know that we're on the same brainwave and I know that we're working the energies collectively in the town together. So it's coming from that space. Thank you for witnessing me being awkward around that, because I don't really like it when people do that. Kind of tweaks me, even though it's totally fine, because I understand that people are just wanting to get their content out there, and that's valuable and valid too, but that's just not the space that I'm coming from when I'm saying this. I like to ground and anchor energy and feel community and know who the community is. Of course, it's different on YouTube because I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody on YouTube, but YouTube isn't always very active. So anyway, my name is Wendy Biondo. If you would like to connect on Facebook, I have a lot of friend requests that I don't get through. So you could always send me a private message and let me know if you're coming over from YouTube, and then I'll know your name and I'll know to accept the friend request if you want to join on there and build in that community. A lot of the friends and the people that I've connected with are just so amazing, and it's wonderful to know who we are and where we are connecting through that grid of the 12. The 12. I'm not having the words, but you know what I mean. This higher energy, that which we're anchoring. Also, if you feel guided, if you feel called to do energy session with me, please reach out. I am doing distance healing sessions. I'm still probably going to Colorado. I am going to Colorado next week, so I won't be on here. After that, I feel the timing to do the video explaining more. But if you already know that you're a match to me or my energy or the work that I'm about and doing, and you would like to work together, please reach out through Messenger, or you can comment on YouTube, and I can send you my email, and we can work distance healing. It's through the phone. We stay on the phone the whole time, and we commune and download and decode together throughout the session. So that being offered, I am also still doing readings, tarot readings, and all of that available. Again, I'm going to be gone next week. Thank you for listening and communing today, and I'll see you next time if I do. Okay, thank you. Bye.